Alright, so this is my Christmas video. I thought I'd dress a little down, a little up for the occasion. But I've been looking forward to making this video, and I wanted to do this early because, well, first off, I've been hearing this song. I don't want a lot for Christmas. So if Mariah Carey says it's time, it's time. But also for me, Christmas has always been kind of like this roller coaster of a holiday. And I figured that if any of you are going through the same thing or have gone through the same thing, that maybe this video could help you out. So here we go. We're gonna start at the beginning, as we always do. As a child, my earliest Christmas, I was maybe in kindergarten. And you know, I'm a boy, so I'm getting stuff like G.I. Joes and, you know, that sort of trucks, that sort of stuff. I remember my sister getting this like roller skating doll. Like it was like, you know, the doll would roller skate. Here comes that pretty little show of baby skates. And I thought it was so cool. I'd never seen anything like that. It was battery operated and just, you know, stuff like that. And I remember saying something like, I wish I was a girl because girls get better toys. And that didn't fly over too well in my house. I remember getting spanked for saying that. And after that, the Christmases after that, it was just kind of like, I'm not gonna say that I hated Christmas, but I didn't look forward to it because it was year after year of just me getting stuff that I didn't want. You know, like I went through the whole thing of like the Teddy Ruxpin.
Hi, my name is Teddy Ruxpin. Can you and I be friends? Yeah.
Which was like the teddy bear doll. And my buddy.
My buddy, my buddy, my buddy, my buddy. Wherever I go, he goes.
And like the male Cabbage Patch dolls, like stuff that I wanted. I knew there was no chance that my parents would ever get that for me. But even like as I got older and I started to get into like science, I remember asking for like a science kit. And I don't think my parents I don't think they were against getting me a science kit, but I just don't think it was they even knew how to buy that for me, or you know what I'm saying? Like I couldn't tell you why I never got it, but I remember just like I would create my own. I would take like a egg carton and just fill it up with different household chemicals, bleach and detergent, and mix them together and try to make my little own science experiments, which my mom was not a fan of, by the way. But yeah, so Christmas for me, I don't know. I didn't want to be let down, so I figured maybe if I don't put any energy into it, then I won't be let down. And so that's kind of like how I lived. I remember this one exception though. With school, we went on a field trip to Rockefeller Plaza in Manhattan, and I just remember seeing the big Christmas tree and the people ice skating and just the decorations and Santa and the Christmas music, and there was just this feeling, oh man, for the first time, and I wish I could remember my age, I don't, but I just remember feeling like, wow, this is beautiful and magical, and that was a great Christmas, but it had nothing to do with toys. This is something that I realized later on. But yeah, that was a moment where I'm like, wow, this is a great experience. I love being here. But outside of that, it was more of just disappointment and me just like, don't get me anything. Really, don't get me anything. But I remember, and I made a video about this, living in a crack house with my mom and my two sisters. But there was this one Christmas, I must have been maybe 10 at the time, but I learned how to make this Christmas tree like out of a book, you know, how to fold the pages and kind of just spray paint it and add balls and a Christmas tree. So I made this little Christmas tree. And that year, again, we're living in a crack house, and my father came over with gifts for us, which I really wasn't expecting. But I remember he got me a Hungry Hungry Hippo board game and a Jeopardy board game. I still remember because that's stuff that I would have wanted. And it was the first time I was like, whoa. I don't know how, but maybe my stepmom told him, but it's like he got me, he understood me. I was so excited and so happy to get these gifts. But of course, him and my mom ended up getting into a fight. It turned a little bit physical. My Christmas tree ended up getting knocked over and kind of being ruined. And yeah, so that day, my uncle and aunt came to pick us up. We lived in the Bronx, they lived in Brooklyn, so they were gonna take us back to their place, both in New York City. Somehow, we ended up in, I believe it was Connecticut, if I remember correctly. But yeah, so I guess what happened was that all of the adults were on drugs. So we get into the car and we're driving. And I don't know if this is just a Puerto Rican thing or just a Hispanic thing, but we had this thing where we would say, brinca, brinca, to the driver. And that would kind of mean like, go faster, go faster, go faster. And so my uncle's going faster. He's in the driver's seat, of course. Behind him, I'm in the back seat and my sister is on my lap. So we're actually both behind him. My sister kind of freaks out and goes to grab his seat, but ends up covering his eyes. We get into this car accident as we're going across a bridge. Ram into another car. I just remember our car like going up on its side and looking out the window and just seeing the sparks and thinking, whoa, how cool is that? So the car goes back down. The other car just continues to drive, so we continue to drive. And if I remember correctly, I think we would probably have flat tires because eventually we get pulled over by the cops. And they discovered that there was drugs somewhere in the car. But in the trunk of my uncle's car were my board games. So the two gifts that I really was super excited to get. They were actually confiscated and part of the trial and the court system. And so I didn't get to play with those board games until like June of that year. So yeah, so like, it was like a moment, it was like, oh, this is a great Christmas, and it ended up like being terrible at the end. And so that's kind of like how Christmas remained for me. It wasn't until like maybe when I started to sing, and I sang in church, and there was a religious aspect that kind of, because you know, of course as a child, we didn't go to church. I didn't think about religion, and I'm not going to make this a religious video, but adding that aspect to it, and again, it's really not so much about the religion, but just about not the gifts, not the monetary stuff, but just being in the spirit of Christmas. That was introduced to me. You know, I remember, this is like a full circle part of it, but I remember like looking out of my window, feeling depressed every Christmas, and there was this clock, billboard clock, that was kind of across the water from us, and it was powered by Movado. And so this is actually a watch I got, a Movado watch that this wasn't planned, but I got this watch, and I look at this watch, and I only wear it during the holidays, but it makes me think about that time when I was so depressed, and looking at the time and just wishing that I could be somewhere else. And this is how I was able to turn that into a different moment for me, you know, a special moment. And another thing was that this was actually the first gift that I got from my first boyfriend for Christmas. Is a cross. Very popular with Puerto Ricans to get each other gold crosses. But yeah, that was another point of it becoming less about the actual gift and more about the sentiment and being spiritual. You know, just having a good feeling. That wasn't there for me as a kid, but later on started to be there. I'm not really into decorating. I'm not really into the family coming over. That, you know, too many issues, but I'm not into that whole part of it. But I am into just feeling the spirit of Christmas. And so a few years ago, I did Christmas the way that I wanted to celebrate it. So I got like this Airbnb in Jerome, Arizona, and so there was a fireplace, and they decorated the place out with Christmas stuff, and we had like, there was a jacuzzi out back, and I got food from like a grocery store, like a whole Christmas meal, and so that was Christmas. There was no gifts exchanged, no nothing. You know, it was just about celebrating and the celebration of it all, and that was my best Christmas ever. And it's also kind of been like how I view every other Christmas, how I want to celebrate my Christmas. It isn't about the gifts. I'm not into doing the gifts or none of that stuff. It's just about getting into the spirituality of it all. Like, even when I think about throughout the years of there was this one year I was working for the water department in Atlanta, and so I joined the Christmas choir, and so we sang for the mayor of Atlanta and in the city offices. And it's those moments when I think of Christmas, I think of doing stuff like that, even in school, in high school, singing for Christmas festivals. And that's what I realized that it isn't about decorating or the Christmas tree or gifts. It's just about getting into that feeling and appreciating what you have, even if it's, you know, again, I don't have the biggest circle of people around me, but I do have folks around me, and I do have people that love me, and I do love people. And Christmas to me is that day when you remember and you are grateful for what you do have. So I'm pretty sure I'll make another video between now and Christmas, but just in case that I don't, I want to wish all of my subscribers and my viewers a happy Christmas, a Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, whatever holiday you're celebrating. I wish nothing but joy, love, and peace for each and every one of you. And I love you.